everybody, whoever is in here other than me. I think I'm going to have Chris joining me here shortly. I just sent him the link. Um, Candace, hon, if you're in here, I know you've sent me a couple of messages, and I apologize. I listened to the very beginning of the one you sent earlier today, around 3 or so. I do apologize. I was spending some time with Steve, just watching movies and doing different things like that. So I probably owe you at least a couple of messages later. But I see Chris is backstage, so I'm gonna do a little housekeeping things, and then I'm gonna get Chris on here, and we're gonna watch Chud now. A little note, there are two versions on my Arrow release, and I picked the cut because I thought that might be the easier one for people to watch. But if you have to watch another one, I think the other one on this set was like an inner positive, like, or integral cut, which means it's going to have extra scenes thrown in there. So I'm hoping that's not a bad deal for Chris that I'm using the theatrical cut for this one. I think it's a little bit shorter than the integral cut. So, but if you are using the integral cut or another, longer cut, we'll try to keep you synced up the best we can. But we are going to be watching Chud here in just a little bit. But I did want to get some housekeeping things out of the way first. Of course, coming up tomorrow, we will have another watch along at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for E.T., the lovable alien movie from Steven Spielberg. Just don't ask my cousin Heather about it because she's terrified of E.T. And also, I've got a movie munchies starting at around 3 p.m. Eastern Time for Chili Necronomicon corn. So I'm really looking forward to that, making it and eating it as well. So, um, but there's going to be some changes in the watch alongs and the movie munchies. Now, I did tell everybody that I was going to be switching up things and not doing a movie munchies every Sunday. I was going to be doing one every other Sunday. So, this is not what I'm about to say, is not that I don't enjoy doing watch alongs every weekend. However, in an attempt to keep things fresh and keep me fresh, keep me from suffering from burnout so I can put out quality entertainment on here, hopefully, I am going to be taking every other weekend off of doing watch alongs and movie munchies. That's going to give me time, folks, to recharge and spend time with my husband, which I have been neglecting. And also, it can give you guys a break. There are some of you guys and gals that show up for every watch along I do, even if you don't have the movie. You show up for every movie munchies I do. And I really, really appreciate it. But this way, we'll all get some flexibility. We'll all get a break. But never fear, as long as me and Candace are able and we're not sick or anything like that, Friday Foolish will continue every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And, I plan to keep doing, the Stephen's Kingdom. Everybody Wants England. Me and TJ talking about those creep show episodes. Seductive Poison, the Resurgence. But I think y'all would all agree that everybody needs a break from things that are even fun. You need a break. You need to get back into your normal routine. This will also allow me to work on the shop more, get more products out there, get me and Candace our t-shirts made so that I can get that t-shirt sent out to her so we can have matching hot pink t-shirts for Friday Foolish. And so I think it's going to be great all the way around. Um, so just wanted to let everybody know what was coming down the pipeline for the future. And now I'm going to add Chris on here real quickly here. Hey, Chris.
Hey Dana, how's it going?
Good. What do you think of my announcement since I got you on here?
Well, I think it's a really good idea for what you're doing. Which I think the other way was a good idea too. But I understand your reasonings for it because um, like you wanting to spend more time with Steve and stuff, and that's completely understandable.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get that, but but I think that's that's a good idea, like you were saying, so you don't get burnt out too. So I could definitely feel that if I had a schedule like you did and I was on YouTube, yeah, it would feel like I needed a break every now and then.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not because it's not fun. It's just because
Right, right. It's just that you don't want it to end up not being fun.
exactly, and I feel like I'm starting to be stretched too thin. And there's only enough hours in the day, and you might think, well, 8 hours a day or whatever like that. That's plenty of time, but
Hey,
really, it's not.
it's not. Believe me, I know. I work 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and like some people say like, well, when they work that their day goes by really long. I don't. That's not the case with me. Like it
Me
feels like
either.
the kind of work I do, at least, I work from home. It's like call center type stuff.
Yep.
But it I am so used to it now. I've been working there for 5 years now, and the days go by so like the past couple of years have went by so quickly to me at least. Um, but yeah, I totally get that, Dana. I totally get that what you're saying, and I think it's going to work out better in the long haul that way. Because you'll be able to take breaks, and you don't want to get burnt out, and I think that's the most important thing.
Because believe it or not, you can get YouTube burnout or StreamYard burnout or whatever you want to call it. Um,
Well, there are some. I should probably get mad at me for saying this, but there's some YouTubers that Candace watches that I wish she would get burnt out. But she likes a lot of this ASMR stuff, and that's cool. I mean, if that's what she likes, that's what she likes. But I can't get into it, Dana. I can't. I don't know what it is.
well, there's some things that me and Steve like the same, but then there's some things that's like,
Oh
he
yeah.
thinks it about me, I think it about him about some things. Hey, Candace, speak of the devil there. She's not
Well,
the devil, but
right. But she could be sometimes. But
I ain't getting into that.
no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah, I totally get that. Can I called you Can? I meant Dana.
Well, there
Uh,
could be worse things that you could call me.
but yeah, because it's like, but everybody likes their own thing when it comes to that, and you got to respect that because I think all couples are like that though, that not all of them's gonna like the exact same thing for everything that they like.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that actually makes for a lot healthier relationship with
It
your
does.
partner.
It does. Because, years ago, when I was a lot younger and I was, going into relationships and stuff like that, I just had this mentality of that when couples are together, that they are going to like everything exactly the same. And I don't know why I ever thought that way. I guess I was just young and stupid, but
No, I
I
definitely want it to be like that. Even early on, I wanted to wanted it to be like that with
Yeah,
Max.
and you don't want it to be like that because it can get boring quick. I'm sure because you want at least a little bit of some kind of mystery to the person you're with, and that way you're always learning new things about one another.
Exactly. So, Chris, are you okay with us watching the theatrical
Yeah, it's
version of
fine. I mean,
Chud?
I'm not sure if this one I've got pulled up is theatrical cut, but I mean, if it's not, it is what it is.
Well,
It's
we'll try to
it's
keep
still
you.
Chud.
It's still Chud. Yeah. And before we get started, I did want to bring up that I did recently watch Chud 2 Bud the Chud, and
Yeah,
that is nothing like this movie, but I found it fun. Some people say, well, it's really
I've never
bad.
seen Chud 2. I've always meant to watch it. I know that was a movie Tim Gross would always talk about and joke around about and stuff. And I that was like years ago when he was, like 14 years ago or something, when he was like always joking about that movie and stuff. But I've still not seen Chud 2, but I have seen Chud. It's been a long time, but I'm glad to be watching it again tonight.
Yeah, it's been a little while for me watching the original Chud.
And I'll
It's been,
show this real quick too.
oh,
Like,
that's cool.
since that's the waxwork wreck. So I should have showed this yesterday when we were doing the record show,
Yeah,
but
that
I
one's
mean,
really
but
awesome.
then I realized, like, well, she's doing Shud tonight, and I'll see if she'll let me on there with her, and I'll show that off. Um, yeah, it's really cool. I didn't even like purposely order that because
Uh-huh.
it was back when I accidentally joined like the subscription thing through
Oh,
Waxwork.
I
I didn't
got
realize I did the subscription one, and so it just came, and I was like, "Oh, well, I didn't order." And then I looked, and I was part of that subscription. I was like, "I didn't even know I joined that." And then I had to end up canceling it after this, because like it was kind of expensive.
right. Although, I mean, those are nice, but they are very expensive, a lot of those things. But I did order, I couldn't help myself, Chris. I got on that 1984 publishing site.
Uh huh.
And I ordered that Sleepaway Camp
Did
bundle.
you?
Yeah,
I figured you would. I figured you would. Like, and then you
he
got
just
me.
shook his head.
You got me interested because you showed that prom night one off from there yesterday, and I went on there and I looked, and they still have them on there. So
Yeah.
I may end up getting that. I seen they had a different one too. It had like a disco ball on it. And it was a 7 inch. Did you see that
Oh,
one?
yeah, I did see that one. Mhm.
Yeah, I may get those because those are pretty cool. I love prom night. I like all of prom night movies. Honestly, I don't know about you, but especially prom night two. Hello, Mary Lou. That one's, God, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think the only one I like a little bit less is probably Prom Night 3, but I don't hate it.
I
Um,
like it. It's pretty goofy,
mm,
but I like it. And but have you watched Prom Night 4?
it's been a while, Chris, I'll admit, but the last time I saw it, which has been a while, I enjoyed it. But, if I watched it now, I may not like it as well.
Yeah, well, I didn't like it really at all. And
But
I was
yeah,
like,
my taste might have changed, and I may say, this is awful.
yeah, I looked at it. I was like, man, this feels so much different from any other prom night movie. And then I was like, I don't think I want to. I don't care about that. I'll just leave this one out when I go through the series again.
So Batman's in here. He says hi, Dana, Chris, and Candace,
Hey, Batman nerd, super Batman nerd.
and he wants to know what I thought of Robert England's 5-second cameo in
Oh,
Chud 2 Bud the
yeah.
Chud. I liked it. I knew exactly when he walked across the street. I think he was with a little girl taking her trick or treating, and he had this long brown like trench coat on, and he kind of glances at the chuds coming down the
Mhm.
street, and then he just walks out of frame. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't have any lines, but it's like you look at him, he's like, "That's Robert England." I mean, I knew him right off. I enjoyed seeing him in there, even if it was just 5 seconds.
Yeah, I how close are you right now on that schedule to Paper Brigade?
Ooh, you know what? Let me just take a look at my. Uh, Let me find my Robert England stuff here.
Hey, Blissful, how's it going?
Hey, Blissel. Because I'm going to be doing. Let's see. Hopefully, I'll be doing Mortal Fear, the Mangler. I'm going to talk about the Mangler again. I've
Mm,
already talked about it on Stephen's Kingdom, but now I got to talk about it on Everybody Wants England because he's in it. Uh,
right.
and the Unspoken Truth. And let's see. Oh, actually, the week after this coming week will
Uh-huh.
be Paper Brigade because I'm
Awesome.
going to do Killer Tongue, Paper Brigade, and possibly Star Quest 2. Yeah. So, yeah, I didn't know I was that close to Paper Brigade.
I
Um,
knew you had to be getting close because where we just did New Nightmare and all those other ones, because New Nightmare was what, 94?
yep.
So I was like, I think Paper Brigade came out like 96 or 97, somewhere around there. So,
Mhm. So I guess me and Chris will go ahead and get started here, but I am just so any Chris and anybody else that's going to be watching along with us can get fairly synced up. I'm on the screen. Andrew Boneem presents.
Bonine, something like
However
that.
you pronounce that dude's last name. Uh, but I'll give everybody about a minute or two to get all synced up, and then we'll do the countdown and go ahead and get started. Um,
I was going through some posters today, Dana, and ran across one and it immediately reminded me of you. And that's the Evil Dead 2013.
yeah. Now, see,
Yeah.
there's a big, that's all I can say about that movie. But there's a big reason why you should join the channel for $5 a month. You could make me watch that damn thing again.
I'm not going to make you do that. Lord mercy.
um, Probably the only two ways I'd ever watch that movie again is if somebody joined the channel and they wanted me to review it. Of course, don't expect me to like give it a good review. I've seen the thing more than once, and like is the only movie I ever physically considered getting up and walking out of the theater on. That's how bad I dislike that movie.
Yeah, I found that Candace wanted me to tell you what she said when I found that poster. She said, "Yeah, you need to send that to Dana."
Do you want me to light it on fire on camera? Oh.
I don't care what you do.
No, I don't know. If you sent it to me, I don't know that I could do that. Maybe I could let Steve put
Yeah, just keep it rolled up. You can just beat Steve with it.
or let him sandwich it in with his posters.
Yeah,
Oh man. Okay, I'll give it about another minute or well, let's go ahead and get started. It's 7:20. That
yeah.
sounds like a good time to get started. So we'll go ahead and do the countdown and we'll get started here. So here we go. Three, two, one. Press play. I hope I got subtitles on this thing. John Hurd.
Yep.
Rest in peace, John Hurd. I love that guy.
John Hurd and Daniel
Daniel
Stern,
Stern.
both of them also being in Home Alone and Home Alone 2.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember because I grew up with the Home Alone movies, and when I first saw this, I think I was a teenager at the time when I first saw this, and I noticed both of them in this movie, and I
Mhm.
was like, "What?" But yeah, this is a really cool creature feature if no one's ever seen this before.
And if you're a dog lover, look out here.
Yeah. You ever heard of that website, Dana, called doesthedogdie.com?
No, I haven't. But does it warn you of dogs?
Yeah, it has like all these lists of movies on the site, and it tells you if there's a dog in that movie, and if the it lets you know ahead of time if it dies or not.
I need that.
It's like first time I ever watched The Hills Have Eyes. When I think is it Beast is the one that gets killed, or is it Beauty?
And gosh, I
I,
can't remember
I
now.
can't remember either, but whichever one it was, I was not prepared for that because I love German Shepherd dogs.
I'm kind of scared of German Shepherd dogs. I don't want any harm to come to them, but I was bit on the leg one time by a German Shepherd
Well,
dog.
I love how they look. I don't think I would ever want to own one. My neighbors have one, and it's like the most aggravating dog in existence. So,
We've had some people that have had them in the neighborhood, and they would sound like they were going to tear you apart if you walked past these people's fence. If you were just taking a leisurely walk, they would come running up and just like they were
yeah,
going.
that's how this dog next door is. Um, but that guy that was just walking there in that scene, for some reason he looks like Henry Rollins to me. I don't know if you know who Henry Rollins is.
Yeah, he did look like Henry Rollins.
Yeah. Larry Abrams. I know that name. What else has he worked on?
My brain is going, Chris. The name sounds familiar to me too. I just can't. And of course, we have a very strong homeless element to this movie.
Yeah, I tell you something. That's she's got. I don't know what she's got in those bags, but if it's anything like the heavy bags I have to carry in from the grocery store, Lord, I don't. I hate that. There's John Hurd.
John Hurt was a nice looking young man too.
He looks similar there to what's the guy's name in Dumb and Dumber with Jim Carrey? Is it Jeff Daniels?
Mm,
He kind of looks like a young Jeff Daniels too.
yeah, he looks like he's been working out.
The apartment he lives, or I guess it's an apartment that he's living in here.
Mm.
Um, I don't. It always kind of reminded me of the one guy that lived in the apartment in the Tales from the Dark Side movie. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of. I always thought, which I love Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. Um, I
I love
consider
the movie and the shows
the
too.
show was great. Yeah, because I think George Romero directed the first episode, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, that the movie of Tales from the Dark Side, I just watched it again not long ago. I always consider it the real Creep Show 3
yeah.
because the actual Creep Show 3 is not very good.
I've only saw parts of it, and I don't think I need to see any more of it.
Mm, I'm just, I don't. Romero wasn't involved with Creep Show 3 at all, was he?
I don't think so.
I didn't think he was. Why are you putting
Sorry,
makeup
but
on
he
your
said,
ass?
"Yeah, why are you putting makeup on your ass?"
That's where the pimple is. Now I can't remember. Is it? I'm guessing this is his girlfriend, right?
Hmm.
I don't know if she couldn't remember if she was just like his girlfriend or like a really really affectionate roommate.
I'm pretty sure it's his girlfriend. I think he's jealous because she's going on a job. I guess she's like modeling or in
Mhm.
commercials or something.
You ever watch that American Horror Stories? It's not the regular American Horror Story series, but it's just called Stories, and
Yeah,
each episode is different, like an
I've seen
anthology.
some scenes from it. Steve has watched some of them, I think.
Yeah, Yeah, there's one episode. It reminded me. There's about all these girls that are like modeling, and
Mhm.
they go to this modeling agent, and she's like, if even if they're like just a tad like bit too much weight from what she's wanting, like she turns them down. So this girl keeps going back to she keeps getting she eats like this tapeworm and it's like a mutated tapeworm.
Oh,
So
I
it's
think I remember that
yeah,
episode.
it's like eating her body away from the inside. She keeps getting skinnier and skinnier.
It's like, I don't care how skinny somebody wanted me to be. I ain't swallowing no tapeworm.
Yeah, that's insanity. Yeah, I need to get caught up on the Creep Show TV series, so that way I can start talking about some of those newer episodes with you and TJ if you'd have me on there.
Oh, yeah. I tell you, Chris, you can come on anytime.
Yeah, I love that. This is like you've really got me hooked on this now, Dana, because like I was like I told Candace the other night, I said I need to stop aggravating Dana and start my own
You're not
channel.
aggravating me at all. I mean, I needed to get, some new blood on here anyway because for whatever reason, a lot of people, I don't know if their schedules are such that they can't get on and come on live. And it's just so, I feel like it's boring with just me on here, just sitting here talking about a movie.
Hmm. I don't know. I just randomly thought of this, Dana, but I gotta ask you this question because this is something I've seen a lot of the internet talk about in the past couple of years. Is there's like this Mandela effect of people that remember Sinbad in a movie called Shazam.
Oh,
What
yeah.
Candace swears up and down that she's seen this movie, but there's no like any like evidence of it existing on the anywhere online. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
So, well, I can't say that I've actually seen it, but I've heard, about it though, which is weird. But you say nobody can find any existence of it.
No, no, and like they've had interviews with Sinbad and everything, and he says like, no, I never did any kind of movie like that. But there's like this whole huge group of people out there that don't even know each other that all swear up and down that it existed and they watched it when they were a kid.
They
And
should make a documentary out of that and
I
have all
think
these
I
people.
don't know if they talked about that one, but there is a documentary where they talk about all these different like Mandela effect stories where people
Mhm.
like a whole group of people remembered something from years ago, but it wasn't actually like a real thing. So it's
Right.
kind of interesting, if it's kind of a rabbit hole you can go down too. So
Candace says, "I swear it."
that lady that they showed a couple minutes ago that has the real short hair, where she saw like the hole in the dumpster and everything. She kind of, in a way, looks a little bit like Caroline Williams when Caroline Williams was in Leprechaun 3.
Oh yeah,
Do you remember her part in Leprechaun 3?
briefly.
She's the lady where like she like steals one of his coins or something, and like he makes her like lips real huge with like Botox, and like her boobs start getting like hugely inflated, and her
Uh,
butt gets that way too, and she looks like
that's
a
funny.
freak, really. Roll your eyes at it.
I don't think I'd ever want to be a model because there's too much pressure attached to that to be a
I,
certain way, look a certain way, and
yeah, I definitely think so, and I love the whole parody of that from like the skit in Saturday Night Live with Chris Farley and Patrick Swayze, the
Oh,
Chippendale dancer thing,
yeah.
and like he asked him, Chris Farley asked him, how he was, and they were like, I can't remember what it says. You're just really bad, or you're really fat, or something like that. And, and he's like, oh, okay, okay. Hey, I know that guy. Oh my gosh, where do I know him from? Do you know who I'm talking about, Dana? That cop there, that guy right there.
That Christopher Curry?
What else is he in?
Shoot. Uh,
Gosh, I know him from something I can't think what it is right now.
I'm pretty sure it's Christopher Curry, but
Possibly, I know I recognize him, but I couldn't tell you what his name was.
uh well, you know me, it's gonna bother me unless I look it
Oh,
up.
I'm the same way too. I'll I have to look stuff up sometimes.
Let's see. Let's take a look here. Uh, yeah, let's see. Yeah, Captain Bosch in C.H.U.D. That is Christopher Curry. Well, let's see what else he's in.
That's what I'm starting to look up now too. I'm gonna see if we're talking about the same person too. Hold on.
I mean, he's been in a lot of stuff, but I'm looking for like a.
No, it's not Christopher Curry I'm talking about. It was the black headed cop.
Oh, the black-headed cop. Okay, gotcha.
Shoot. That guy's name is Sam McMurray, and
Okay, yeah.
he is in. Well, it says, oh yeah, he was in The Wizard with Fred Savage,
Oh, that's right.
and he's also in Drop Dead Gorgeous. Have you ever seen that movie, Drop Dead Gorgeous?
I don't think I've seen that one.
I introduced that movie to Candace, and she had never seen it before, and she loved it. It's about it's got Kirstie Alley in it, and like she's like the head of this like beauty pageant contest, and
Uh-huh.
like her daughter is played by I think Denise Richards, and she's like in one of the contestants, and Kirsten Dunst is in it, and if the whole movie's like all these contestants in the pageant going across the country is like getting killed off one by one,
Uh-huh.
and so it like reveals what all went on in the end, and it's like almost like a slasher, but it's not meant to be a horror movie. It's a straight comedy, but I recommend that one if you ever want to check that out.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check that particular movie out.
Yeah, but that guy I was also talking about. He's also in the TV show Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah.
And that's a show that I really loved, and I wish it had not been canceled after one season. But
Oh, he was on an episode of Johnny Bravo also. I used to love Johnny Bravo.
oh, the cartoon, yeah, I think I have a pop figure of Johnny Bravo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have, which I think from that era of cartoons on Cartoon Network and stuff, I think my favorite was always Courage the Cowardly Dog, because it's like horror themed. And there's even an episode where there's this guy that comes to direct an episode in like their basement, and he's like a zombie, but he's in disguise, and it's he's supposed to be like George Romero because that's who they modeled him after it,
Right.
and like the two like humans in the show, Eustace and Muriel, they don't realize there's anything wrong with him. At Courage, the dog, he's the only one knows that there's something wrong with the guy. And I love that show.
I like Johnny Bravo. I liked Dexter's
Yeah.
Laboratory. Absolutely love Dexter's Laboratory. One of my favorite episodes was Old Man Dexter, where he wanted to stay up late to watch the late
Yeah.
movie with everybody.
And that the guy that was always his rival on there, Mandark, that was voiced by Eddie Deason, which if you've seen Critters 2, you know who Eddie Deason is.
And Eddie Deason is also in one of my all-time favorite Beatles theme movies.
Oh
I want
yeah, I
to
want to hold your hand. Yeah, he talked. I have him on Facebook, and he talks about that movie a lot. And he was in Grease and some other stuff too. But I
yeah.
always remember him from Critters 2. You know that scene in Critters 2, Dana, where like because Lee he starts out like as like this Playboy model is what he chose his like form to be, and then he turns into Eddie Deason, character from like the Hungry Heifer restaurant there, and then like later they're in front of this like movie rental store, and there's a big cardboard cutout of Freddy Krueger, and he's
Oh,
like trying to change into Freddy Krueger. I was like, oh my gosh. But they stopped him from doing it. I was like, well, they couldn't get they couldn't get Robert Englund to do Critters 2, I guess.
probably not. That would have been cool
That
though.
would have been awesome. Oh yeah, that's right, Super Batman nerd. He was in Christmas Vacation as well. Yeah, I think he's like
That's right. Yeah,
he
Bill, like
works. Yeah, with Chevy
coworker,
Chase's character
Clark's coworker.
Clark. Yeah, there you go.
That is exactly right. Batman, he's very, very observant. So
You know, I was thinking that earlier. I was like, "Is he one of the vacation movies?" I was like, "No, maybe I'm thinking somebody else." But yeah, thanks for confirming that, Super Batman nerd. This guy's
this
like,
woman, though, she has a. I know she's supposed to be homeless, but she has a perpetually dirty face. Somebody should have cleaned her face for her at some point. I forgot about this guy here creeping around, watching what's going on. Oh, Batman, you're not supposed to give away your secrets, buddy. I'm browsing his filmography on IMDb. Just let us think that you're very observant and you remember all this stuff.
I think I might be a little bit behind you on
Yeah,
here.
I'm John Hurd and the homeless lady are walking in the sewers.
Okay, yeah, I've not got there yet, but I know where you're at though. Yeah,
He's got some Lee jeans on there too. Trust me, guys and gals, I'm not looking for an excuse to look at John Hurd's butt.
oh come on, Dana.
Maybe just a little bit. But I've seen enough of these movies where bad stuff happens in sewers that I would never go into a city sewer system.
What's your timestamp at? I'm gonna see if I can catch up with you a little bit.
I'm 20 minutes and 21 seconds.
Okay. Oh, that's I might be watching a different version from you. That's why.
Mm. You may have the one that has the extra scenes in it. I had totally forgotten that there were at least two different versions of it.
Yeah, I searched for the theatrical cut, and it took me to this one. So I guess it's not. So
But you probably seen this quite a
Oh
few
yeah,
times.
yeah.
Um, so that helps. If somebody's never seen the movie and they want to hop on here, I mean, I wouldn't say, "Hey, you can't come on," but sometimes it's harder if somebody has never seen the movie before to be able to coordinate and stuff. Oh yeah, Batman. I'm gonna have some of those watch along rewinds for several movies. I got to get that list of Candace and Chris of things that we kind of need to do a rewind for. Um, yeah, maybe I can do something where I can let you know. Well, I mean, I usually do let people know what the watch alongs are going to be. And now that I've got that schedule in place, I can really let people know ahead of time, at least a week ahead of time. So if there's any that you see that you want to join me for, just let me know. Ooh, that looks bad. I just love Daniel Stern and John Hurd, the way they play off each other and interact with each other.
Yeah, that's it. They really do in this, at least. I mean, because if in the Home Alone films, they don't have their characters don't have any kind of interaction with one another in the first or the second film. None of Kevin's family except him, were the only ones that had scenes with him and Joe Pesci.
Right. And if you listen to the commentary for this movie with John Hurt and Daniel Stern, it's like old friends just sitting down to watch a movie. And I think that's what those guys were. I think they
Yeah,
were
that's
friends.
That's what I was always thinking. Maybe they went to like the same film school together, or they were just been friends who happened to both be actors. I don't know, but that's what I always assumed too. Yeah, I'm just at the part right now where like they're down in there, and the lady with the dirty face is cleaning the man with the dirty face.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Have
awesome.
they lifted the bandage up yet and showed the bad stuff on his leg yet?
No, no, I think it's getting ready to get to that part though.
Okay. So now I'm where Christopher Curry and Daniel Stern are talking in the soup kitchen. If you want me to pause it at any time and
No,
let
no, 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 no. That's completely fine.
you.
Like I said, like I wasn't sure which version I was watching, and I think this is the longer version.
Mhm.
Yeah, they just lifted that bandage off.
That
That's
looked nasty.
oh yeah. Gosh, almighty. John Hurt is disgusted. Yeah, I'm gonna see here. I skipped mine ahead a little bit. I'm there now where Daniel Stern and Christopher Curry are down in there and looking around and stuff.
Okay. I'm watching Daniel Stern like roll up. I guess I don't know if it's a joint or a cigarette, but he's
Yeah, it
rolling.
could be either one.
Let's see how he sucks on if he sucks it in like
I want to get there.
he seems like he might be sucking in on it a little bit like it is a joint. It's either that or the skinniest cigarette in recorded history. 'Cause
Have they got there where they're like searching around with the flashlights and stuff?
They're getting ready to go down in there right
Okay, okay, that's where I'm at then. I wanted this to sync up with yours as much as best I could.
now. Oh, look, and we got 10 people in here now, Chris. That's pretty
Y'all
good.
had a bunch of people yesterday in
We
the
did.
vinyl show.
I
And
didn't even realize we'd went over 20, but I think both Candace and Blissful told me that we did.
yeah, I seen that too when I was on there. At least I just seen it when I joined you guys, and I didn't pay no attention after that because I did stay on there a little bit after I got off yesterday. I had to go back to work, but I just kind of had it playing in front of me on my phone. So, but yeah, that's awesome.
I think the Friday Foolish after only 2 episodes is taken off. Seems like.
I don't know where everybody else is at, but I'm just at the part where it's John Hurt. He's back in his apartment with his girlfriend, and she just told him that she was pregnant.
Okay, I'm still with Daniel Stern and Christopher Curry down in the
Yeah, I think I
area.
went ahead too far. But yeah, that's the next scene coming up. You do anything eventful today, Dana?
Well, me and Steve did a commentary. I got him to do a
Really?
commentary for what did we do the commentary for? Oh, Alone in the Dark. The movie from
Oh yeah,
82.
Jack Shoulder,
Yeah,
who also did Nightmare 2. So
yes, he did. Yeah, so hopefully, if I can get my lazy button gear and get that commentary together, maybe people can take a listen to it, at least audio only, because I won't be able to.
yeah, I'll definitely love to hear that, Dana. And I'd always heard stories about Jack Shoulder, his relationship with Mark Patton when they filmed Nightmare 2. And I'd heard people say that he was kind of mean to Mark Patton and stuff. But, I don't know if I believe that unless something changed between them because I seen them
Yeah.
together at a convention talking, like up a storm with one another. So,
And I met Jack Shoulder several years ago and got a picture signed from Alone in the Dark. It was
mm,
the a picture. Well, it actually was an art print of the character of Bunky, who was the babysitter on the bed, and the knife is coming up through the bed. A really cool shot, but I had him sign that.
that's awesome.
Mhm.
Do you collect like lobby cards or anything from films?
Some I'm not a huge collector, but I have some. Not DVDs, but Blu-rays and 4Ks that came with lobby card sets. That's mainly what I've got as far as lobby cards.
Yeah, I collect a lot of stuff, like a lot of different stuff, and that's one of the things I do love because I think especially in the original lobby cards, how that like the card stock of them was really nice, like what they were
Oh
printed
yeah.
on, and and I get speaking of that of lobby cards, it's funny because today is 420, and I
That's
have a
right.
Cheech and Chong lobby card, and it's actually I have a few of them actually I think, and then the one I actually took to uh, two horror hounds ago. Tom Skerritt was there,
Oh
and
wow.
a lot of people were, I guess, getting Alien stuff signed, and he's also in The Devil's Reign with Ernest
Yeah.
Borgnine and William Shatner, and he's in a lot of stuff. But I am a big fan of the Cheech and Chong movies, and he's in Up in Smoke, and he plays Strawberry.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite Cheech and Chong movie actually.
Yeah, and I had the lobby card. It's of him and Strawberry and Cheech. They're in the on the motorcycle, and Cheech is in the sidecar.
Yeah.
And it's when Strawberry starts having that like flashback freak out. And I took that, and see, his wife was with him when we met him. I guess she's like his handler or whatever, because he's pretty old. He's up there now.
Yeah.
Uh, and I presented that lobby card, and his wife says, "Of all the things you could bring, especially to a horror convention, you bring a Cheech and Chong." I'm like, "Yeah, because Cheech and Chong is awesome."
Yeah. Well, I know that when I met Leah Thompson that year at Scarefest,
Hmm.
that- I think that was the same year that we all took that picture together.
Yeah, it was. She was so nice too.
Yeah, but a lot of people were bringing like Back to the Future stuff,
Hmm.
and you know what I brought for her to sign? Howard the Duck poster.
I bought. That's what I got from her. I mean, I didn't bring anything with me, but she had a picture of her
Mhm.
on her table, an 8x10. And listen, I know there's some controversial stuff now with surrounding some of the actors associated with Howard the Duck.
But
Uh,
it's still a fun
but
movie,
I
though.
love it. And I know George Lucas is ashamed of it, and he doesn't like to talk about it. But I don't care. I love that movie growing up,
Mm,
and it definitely has some questionable scenes in it now that I'm older watching it.
yeah,
But especially because I think it was pretty much targeted towards kids, right?
I think so. But there's innuendos all over the
Oh
place.
yeah, yeah, and plus there's two pedophiles that act in the film. I won't say who they are, but I think you could
I think,
just
yeah,
do
I
a
think
bit
there
of
was only
research and you'll
one.
find out.
But and I'm not saying anything against you, Chris, or anybody else. But we've had this talk before, me and different people, about how it's okay to like you can like a movie
Hmm.
and not support somebody being a pedophile.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
definitely.
you've got to separate the two because if if that was the case, we wouldn't be watching half the movies we watch.
Exactly. I feel the exact same. But there are some people out there though, and I can completely understand their reasons for not wanting to, because they might have some kind of personal reasons behind that it doesn't make them comfortable with watching those
Exactly.
films, and I completely get that. I completely, but I'm like that though. If I separate the person from the art. There's actually, a really well known story about a wrestler named Chris Benoit. I don't know if you know
Mm,
the
yeah,
story behind all it, but he did murder his wife and child and then killed himself.
yeah,
Now, there's been, documentaries about it and stuff, people talking about how it was due to CTE and he wasn't in the right like mindset and everything. He was kind of like an Alzheimer patient, is what they said about his brain when they did an autopsy on him. But regardless of all of that, I still like love his career as a wrestler
yeah.
because I separate that completely from anything that happened in his personal life. Um, and yeah, I just think there's a lot of people out there that don't, and I get that. But it is what it is. Everybody's not the same.
And people that have scars from, I'm not going to go into detail about things, but if they have been unfortunately touched or somebody in their family has been
Right,
touched
right,
by
yeah,
something like that, I
yeah,
totally understand them wanting to stay away from stuff like that because it's a PTSD. It could be a PTSD situation, and I would never want anybody to have to go through that.
yeah.
But the only problem I have is when one person tells another person, "You're an awful person for watching that," because there's pedophiles in the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, I know, but there's gonna be that's gonna happen. I get people's going are gonna say that stuff, but it you just got it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like I have a friend that exactly how you described that, like how they had something happen to them as a kid,
Mhm.
and I won't want to reveal his name or anything, but he he has an issue with watching stuff like from Victor Salva, like Jeepers Creepers.
Right.
And especially because there is also kind of like almost like innuendos in the Jeepers Creepers films. It kind of compares to what Victor Salva did in real life.
Mhm.
So I can get that, but that's one of those where I still like Jeepers Creepers, and I
Right.
watch it, and I don't support what the director did
Oh,
or whatever. Absolutely not.
mm-mm.
But but people like that had personal stuff happen to them, that's completely understandable. Get that, because something that traumatic will mess with you your entire life. I'm
Yes,
sure.
it will. And Batman, I respect what you just said in the chat, and I will respect your right
Yeah, I
to
mean that's
not
how
watch
you
the
feel, man. I'm
Willies.
not
But
don't.
personally, I always liked the Willies, not because of Brian Peck.
Yeah, I didn't even know that he directed that movie until I watched the Dead Pit boys talk about it. I was
Uh-huh.
like, I never knew he was
I guess I just
affiliated with that.
didn't put two and two together. Just never it never crossed my mind. But I respect other people's right to not watch.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, because you know, not everybody's going to agree on everything. Not everybody, but you got to respect what they believe and not try to force them to be like, well, no, you're going about this all wrong. No, you can't do that to people, because that when you do that, you're not showing respect to them.
Yeah, mutual respect is a very important thing between people, no matter what you're a fan of, whether you're a fan of horror movies or whether you're a fan of comic books or wrestling or action figures, whatever, the stamp collecting, and I'm not mocking it, I'm not making fun. I'm just saying everybody has something that they either enjoy watching or they enjoy collecting.
Mm-hmm.
And it all comes down to mutual respect is the thing. I have mutual respect for people that just cannot have anything to do with it. Um, but
So
I would expect the same mutual respect if I wanna watch it, not for somebody not to tell me I'm a bad person.
right, yeah, but I do gotta ask: are you making fun of my stamp collection, Dana?
No. If
I'm
you
just, I don't have a stamp. I do. I think I do have a few like Universal Monster stamps, but that's about
oh,
it.
yeah, but that's cool, though. I wanted to collect John Lennon stamps at one time and Beatles stamps, but
Candace
then I
may have some. I'm not sure. I
never.
think I know she has some stamps. Like I think maybe some Elvis stamps and possibly I Love Lucy stamps. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Um, and Candace, I do respect your decision, to not watch Jeepers Creepers. She says she just can't watch it
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah. Well, that's something that we. There's a lot of stuff that I will watch that she won't, and I get that. Like there's a lot of stuff she watches that I don't want to watch. Um,
Yeah, me and Steve are like that too, and not just because there's, anything to do with pedophiles. Sometimes we're just like, yeah, I don't want to watch that. know.
yeah, she said she had some John Lennon stamps and Judy Garland. That's what it is.
I'm still wanting to see the first Omen Batman. Actually,
I do too. I've had a lot of friends come to me and say, "Hey, it's really good. You should check it out." And it's a lot of people that I know that like they're very hard to please with films. And well, just some of them. Then there's ones that like watch stuff, and like my friend Jeremy lives in Virginia. He I think he has a podcast, Epic Film Guys podcast,
uh huh.
and so he'll appreciate that I plugged that. But me and him like are like on the same wavelength when it comes to interest in films and what we like about them and everything. So he told me, because he got to go to an early screening of it,
Hmm.
and he's like, "Go watch it. You have to. You'll love it. I know you will." So I'm hoping to see it here soon.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Steve will take us to the movie so we can watch that one. I did see. Have you seen Late Night with the Devil
I
yet?
was going to bring that one up. They just added it to Shutter.
That's where
Uh,
me and Steve watched it.
Yeah, that's one I'm wanting to see too. I don't think Candace will watch that one with me.
Probably
Um,
not.
she's not into the possession stuff, which it's not like something I'm into. Like it's one of my favorite subgenres of horror or anything. But there are some that I do like. I actually liked, what was it, The Last Exorcism?
Hmm.
That was such a scary movie. I really liked it.
I think that
Candace,
was the one I didn't like. I took my mom to the movies to see that, and
oh,
mom liked it, and I didn't.
I don't think Candace would want to watch that one at all. If she has, I don't know if she
Probably
has or
not.
not. But yeah, because like she really hates The Exorcist.
Yeah, she and I have had some discussions about The Exorcist.
Um,
she,
oh, she does not even like to see any kind of imagery of it or anything, and
yeah,
that's fine because you know what you got. If something makes you uncomfortable, regardless of what it is, like that's just who you are. Yeah, but some of them are kind of funny though. Like they're you ever heard of that wrestler, the Undertaker?
hmm
Do you know what makes him more and a character like the Undertaker in wrestling? He's like this spooky undead guy.
right.
And in reality, he is actually for some reason terrified of cucumbers.
I did not know that.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know
I'm
if that
not meaning to laugh at him.
It's kind of funny, but I'm not gonna lie. But I had seen something like, isn't that like what like cats are afraid of cucumbers
I
because
have heard that cats are.
they said they resemble like or they have the same scent of a snake or something.
I I didn't know the snake part, but I have seen people have done videos of a cat reacting to a cucumber, and they'll jump 10 feet.
Yeah, it's wild, ain't it?
Hmm. Candace, you say Chris is afraid of mustard?
I ain't afraid of it. I just will not eat it.
I don't like mustard either.
Like I get
Ketchup, okay, but no
and
mustard.
Candace, she'll aggravate me sometimes. She's like, try it, just try it. Go ahead, try
That's
it. I
what
know you
Steve
like
does
it.
to me.
And I'm like, no, I will not, because I have had mustard before,
You know
and
what?
I did not end well.
I have not ate dirt, but mustard tastes to me like I would imagine dirt would taste like.
Well, I don't know about that.
I just do not like the taste of mustard. Ugh. Batman says my sister is the same way. Anything with the devil she does not like. Now, my dad is like that too nowadays. Now, when him and mom were dating, they actually went to the drive-in and saw The Exorcist, and they were with another couple. They were double dating with another couple, and the guy and the other couple, they were in the back seat, and he was covering his face through like most of the movie, and like dad was laughing at him then, but years and years later, dad gets the heebie jeebies. Anything to do with possession movies. He just can't
Right.
watch it now.
Well, see, that's like Candace's dad was kind of like that. He didn't really like horror movies at all, and a lot of them he called them devil movies. And like he, especially Children of the Corn. Oh my God, he hated Children of the Corn. And but that it surprised me when he actually sit like knowing how he felt about horror movies and stuff. And I always have this memory of Candace's dad, but he actually sit down one night and watched The Last Drive-In with me.
Oh
And
boy.
of all the films on The Last Drive-In that he could watch with me, he chose to watch Train to Busan.
Oh my
And
goodness, Train to Busan.
yeah, which is to me that's one of the best zombie movies ever made.
It is, but I tell you, Chris, that movie makes me so sad
Oh,
towards
it
the end of
is.
it.
It
I
is
almost
very sad.
cried the first time.
Gosh, it's yeah. It like I don't know what it was. What about that movie that he decided to sit and watch? He sit and watched the whole thing with me, and I was like, wow. I was like, and my brother-in-law had already seen the movie, and when I told him that I watched it with his dad, I was like, he was like, Dad watched Train to Busan. So yeah,
Well,
I'll never forget.
there were movies that I would have never imagined that my dad would sit and watch with me. And he watched Dawn of the Dead, the original Dawn of the Dead
Mhm.
with me one day. He just sat down and watched it with me, and he stuck with it until the end. And he said, "Well, is that how it ends with them leaving in the helicopter?" And I said, "Well, yeah, Dad." Well, that was stupid, but he but he liked the overall movie. He just didn't like, how it ended. But I
Have you ever read the comic book of Dawn of the Dead? Which
no.
is it's just basically it's the movie, but just in comic book form.
Right.
And there is like at the end of the comic, when when uh, Peter and Fran are flying away in the helicopter, they have like how like in comics when they're talking they have like the little say bubbles out from them.
Yeah.
Well, the last like frame or on in the comic it shows is the helicopter flying away and it has like a say bubble out from the helicopter like that Fran is talking, and she says, "I just felt the baby kick."
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Mhm.
and I always thought that's really cool because that wasn't in a part of the movie.
No.
Um,
Um, Candace, and I know I probably talked to you about this, and maybe Chris too. She was talking about her dad loved Maximum Overdrive.
yeah.
Me and my dad loved watching Maximum Overdrive together. We loved watching Jaws together. Those were, movies that, I'll carry that with me till the day I die. Even when my dad is no longer around, I'm going to think about those memories and
Oh,
watch.
absolutely.
Um,
And I think Carl's biggest reason for loving Maximum Overdrive was because the entire soundtrack was AC/DC.
AC/DC.
I love that at the beginning when like all the cars are like on that bridge and it shows the AC/DC van just like sliding all over the road.
And you gotta love Stephen King's cameo at the beginning of
Oh
that.
yeah, this machine just called me an asshole. That was like my cover photo on Facebook for the longest time.
So I know we strayed away from the movie a little bit, but that's the fun thing about doing these things with
Right.
friends and stuff is that you don't have to stay completely on topic. I don't think anybody that does these stays
No, I don't.
100% on topic. The Dead Pit Boys don't.
If you watch any kind of like movies with commentaries and stuff, there's a lot of time where the filmmakers or the actors where will start just making conversation like that about other things other than what they're doing the movie they're doing commentary over. Um, like when I don't they don't do them as much anymore other than just like the video commentaries on YouTube. But
Mm,
back in the day when Dead Pit was doing like the commentaries where you could just buy get the commentaries from them and like
yeah,
listen to it while you watched your DVD, or sometimes they had at conventions when Dead Pit would set up a convention they would sell like they already had the movie on it along and it just synced with their commentary. And I remember one of the first ones I think I bought from them was their Twilight drunken commentary, which that's the only way I can watch the first Twilight movie because
oh my gosh, yeah, there's no other way I could watch that movie.
I have seen all the Twilight because Candace's mom loves them, and I actually the last two like Breaking Dawn films they did, I went to the theaters with Candace and her mom to watch those, and this it's not like my cup of tea, but
Mm,
I don't think that at least the last two I don't think that they were bad made films. um there's a couple things, I'll be honest, I got a little interested when they started going into like these like this certain group of vampires called the Volturi or something like that,
uh,
and they all had like the red eyes and they were like it was really, yeah, I thought it was kind of cool actually.
yeah, you can find, even. a movie that's not your cup of tea or that you think is otherwise awful in some cases, there can be certain things that, or
Yeah,
one
yeah.
certain scene that you like, maybe.
There are films like definitely there are films that I have watched where they just would be on TV and I just just started watching them, or like it's something I've watched with Candace or something, and I've ended up liking stuff that I never thought I would like. Um,
Candace says you're Team Jacob.
yeah, well I do. I mean, when it comes to like if you're just talking about like vampires and werewolves in general, I've leaned more towards werewolves anyway.
Hmm.
Uh, which that's I think they're showing the Wolfman tonight on Svengoolie. That's
Yeah,
probably
I
what
think Steve's going to watch that.
I think that's probably what my dad's doing right now because my dad never misses Svengoolie. And I think my dad, I was talking about Kansas dad earlier, but my dad is probably the reason I like horror films. Um, he introduced me to Night of the Living Dead, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Nightmare on Elm Street films. I mean, pretty much all the classics back then. My dad was probably the reason I watched them. Like the first time I ever watched Army of Darkness, which that was the first of the Evil Dead trilogy I had seen,
Hmm.
was because my dad was working at this like juvenile detention center one time, and he had me come and stay with him there in like the office he worked out of, and they had a TV and like above that TV was a shelf with all these VHS tapes,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't really know any of the movies that they had, and my dad was like, "Well, here, watch this one." And he pulls out Army of Darkness, and it was all over after that,
That
Dana.
got you hooked, didn't he? Now, see, my dad was never into those type of movies, but I think it was half my dad and half my mom because my mom, growing up, she was just like me growing up. She would, when the vampire teeth would come out around Halloween time or whatever, she would get them and chase her sisters around, going, "I want to suck your blood," making them scream and stuff. My mom was just really into all of that stuff, and then when when her and dad first got married, and like when the first Friday the 13th movie came out, of course she wanted to watch it. Now she got away from the slashers later on. She likes more like haunted house type of movies. I think she still likes vampire stuff as well, but my love of that particular genre of movies definitely comes partly from my mom and partly
Mm.
from my dad.
Yeah,
Uh,
my mom was never really into them at all. She watched them with us sometimes, but she didn't like to, I don't think, per se. But my dad, he loved that stuff. And my dad mostly is into like the Universal Monsters, the
mhm.
older black and white horror films. For some reason, my dad doesn't like Vincent Price, and that's one thing that
Really?
me and him don't agree on because Vincent Price is probably my favorite. Uh,
Vincent Price is awesome.
and my dad just doesn't like him for some reason. He says he plays the same character in every movie. I said, well, he kind of does in some, but I mean, he also is very different in a lot of ways too. But my dad, I think, mostly likes like Dracula. I think that's his favorite.
Mhm.
Bela Lugosi's Dracula, and he also likes the Christopher Lee ones too. And
I love Christopher Lee. I like Bela Lugosi. I like his style.
mhm.
Um, Peter Cushing, I love as well.
Well, I tell you, Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee were a hell of a team, and that's outside the Dracula films. I mean, they were in a lot of Hammer films together. And what is that one that they did? It's I believe it's is it House of Long Shadows? It's got Vincent Price and Christopher
Oh
Lee and Peter
yeah,
Cushing, and who else is in that?
shoot.
What's his name?
John Carradine,
John Carradine.
Christopher Lee,
And Peter Cushing.
Peter Cushing, and Vincent Price.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
It's got all of them in there.
But did you say it was a Hammer movie?
No, no, I was just
Okay.
saying they were in Hammer films together,
Yeah,
Christopher Lee and
yeah,
Peter Cushing.
Steve, you should have got on here with us. You could
yeah.
have shared your knowledge.
I'm laying down.
He's he's
He's tired, ain't he?
he's got to get him some rest.
Which I'm tired a little bit. I just right before this, I got done cutting grass and stuff outside because
Oh,
our yard needed it bad.
yeah. Steve had to mow today too. Um, yeah, everybody was mowing today because it was cooler
It
today.
did feel good out today, yeah. Yeah, Candace is right. She says your dad says Vincent Price plays the same character, yet your dad's favorite actor is Steven Seagal. Unfortunately, that's true. My dad does love Steven Seagal. I don't like any of his stuff. That's just me, though. I mean, there might be some fans out there, and I get that, but his films are not for me.
I gotta tell that I've told this story before, but I don't know if everybody in here tonight has heard me tell this story about the first. I always loved showing really weird, off the wall films to my mom and dad to see their reactions, especially to see my dad's reaction. So the first time I showed mom and dad Basket Case, like we finished watching it, and mom was like, okay, and dad looked at me and he said, Dana, that is the stupidest movie I've ever seen in my life. I said, but dad, it's fun.
That's one I need to show my. I don't think my dad's ever seen that one.
Oh,
So,
wow.
that's one I need to show him. I want to know what his reaction
What
will
his
be.
reaction would be.
Yeah, but I'm a huge Frank Henenlotter fan. I
I
now,
got to, have you ever met Frank Henenlotter?
oh, yeah, twice now. I met him years ago at Cinema Wasteland, and then he was at FrankenCon, that show that I've been telling you about. Him and Kevin Van Hinderijk, or however you say his last name. They
Yeah,
were both
however,
they were both at FrankenCon last year, and Frank is so cool. So you met him?
I met him at Cinema Wasteland several years ago, and he was really super nice. Really
Yeah,
good.
that might have been. We might have been at that same one, but it might have been. We might have been there different days or something. Because I don't remember you being at the one I was at. Because at that one that Frank Henlar was at. It was him. That Kevin Van Hinderijk was at that one too. Seems like what's his name from Frankenhooker, the James something, I think.
Oh gosh, sorry about that.
You're good. Hey, I
He's
got
like
dogs here
crazy.
too somewhere.
What's wrong? He ain't gonna come out. Steve was yelling, and I thought something happened to him out there.
So is one of your dogs like a hound dog?
Well,
He sounds like a hound dog.
Sammy is a basset hound, so yeah,
Basset man, okay.
we've
It's like
actually got two basset hounds.
whenever I hear dogs bark like that, I always think of the Bumpus's dogs from A Christmas Story.
Bumpus hounds. Oh man, yeah. But he's a very anxious dog. And when we first got him and Reg would play wrestle and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like Candace says, Ghost and Miko
Yeah,
will play wrestle. But now he comes running up on Reggie like he's going to tear him up. And Reggie has turned on him before, and there have been fights, so we have to really, watch them.
yeah, that's not good. Yeah, you gotta supervise that stuff, Dana.
Yep. Now you're all calm now, aren't you, Sammy? Oh boy,
They just had a quarrel. I mean, it's over with now.
oh gosh, I just saw. Speaking of dogs, I just saw that poor dog, um, in the movie there, the one that got sucked down into
Yeah,
the sewer earlier.
I'm at the part where it's just like where Daniel Stern, which I don't think you're there yet, but where he's like peeking around the corner and he sees all the sewer dweller chuds, and they're like in a circle. You know what I'm?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I
I
don't,
bet
I
that
don't
is
think you're there yet.
because John Hurd's girlfriend is sitting on the toilet right now, and now there's something's trying to come out of that trap door or whatever you want to call
That's
it.
where I'm at now. Like that just happened. Huh. That's so weird.
Maybe I did see Daniel Stern like peeking around. Now she's getting in the shower, so
It's so odd how these are kind of like they're the same, but they're also different. And then they just when you explain that, it matched up exactly what was going on mine.
and that hand that came out of the that cellar door or whatever
Right.
basement door.
Which is kind of like I guess the almost like the cover
Hmm.
of the film.
That is a strange shower head. I'm noticing that shower head. That's never a good thing when your bathtub starts or your shower starts backing up like that. And she's just thinking there's some hair in there or something. She's gonna.
So, Super Batman nerd, what is zombie ass?
Oh, that's that movie. He had the Dead Pit Boys do a commentary, a fan commentary over.
There's a movie. I didn't know that. So there's
Hmm.
a movie actually called Zombie Ass.
And speaking of
Let me
tapeworms,
look into
these
that.
girls do swallow tapeworms in that movie.
Oh, ugh. I tell you that what I was talking about earlier, that episode of American Horror Stories. I mean, it's if you've never seen it, it's pretty gross. I mean, but I liked it. It was cool how they did it and everything. But that girl ends up getting like super like sickly,
Ugh.
skinny. It's it's gross.
And this little boy here with his playing with his ball, it's like that is a very tense scene because you're thinking, is this kid going to get away or is that thing going to get him? Because he goes back twice. He's trying to get all his toys, his ball and his little truck. And oh, that's making me hungry for cheesesteaks now because you got that restaurant there. Cheesesteaks and ice cream. And I think me and Steve are going to go. Cheesesteaks aren't Mexican, but I think we're going to go to the Mexican restaurant up the road tomorrow so I can get me some chicken tortilla soup.
I tell you, there used to be this place right down the road. It was like a little dairy bar that me and Candace would go to all the time, and they had some of the best like Philly cheesesteaks, that I think I've ever had. They were called, what was that place called? Candace, what was that place called? If you are still on here, is that dairy bar like when you're going towards um, like Whitesburg or wherever or Vico, and they used to be called like Dino's or something. Not that PPs. That's what it was.
Uh, Liz, will you say, are you talking about the chicken tortilla soup? Sounds yummy. It certainly is. I mean, and it's not very far from the house, so whenever I want Mexican and I get a craving for chicken tortilla soup, I'll say, Steve, it's just up the road. Can we? You go out of the neighborhood, go up the road a piece, and you're right there. So
Yeah, like Candace said, the name PPs. She said, "Say
sounds
it sounds disgusting, but their food was top notch, and it was really like affordable food too. Like it wasn't nothing that was super overpriced or anything. Um, they had like delicious ice cream there, and I don't know what happened to them, but I sure miss them.
oh dang. Well, he shot that guy, but then the old woman came and hit him in the back of the head. Oh yeah, I forgot that was her brother.
So okay, so that was her brother. Like I didn't know, I couldn't remember if that was her brother or if that was like her husband or whatever.
Batman says that Zombie Ass, it's a Japanese movie about people being overtaken by parasitic tapeworms.
Is it subtitled or dubbed?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I can't remember. Ooh, custard, Candace.
Yeah.
That makes me want to go to Culver's.
I think to me the best custard that me and Candace ever got. I don't. She may disagree, but like it was a place called Carmel, Indiana,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a place called there called Auntie M's,
Oh,
and we got custard there, and it was so good. I mean, uh, Candace would have to tell you more about it because we went there because there was a restaurant called Bub's Burgers,
I think
and
I've heard her talk about
yeah,
that.
Bub's Burgers was like a thing that was on Man versus Food. I don't know if you ever watched Man versus Food, but the
I think I have before. Yeah.
but what it Man versus Food was just like because it was the host's name was Adam Richmond, and he would just go around all these restaurants or around the country that would have like they have gimmicks where they have like if you can eat all this within a certain amount of time
Right.
you get like your picture on the wall or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, they had this at Bub's Burgers. They had this massive burger. I think it was like 2 or 3 pounds,
Oh, wow.
and there was no time limit or anything. You
Huh.
could sit there as long as you want, and as long as you finished it, they would get your picture on the wall. It was like a little small, like I think like 5x7 picture, and but if you was able to sit in one sitting and eat two of them, they would have an even bigger picture of you on the wall. And I
I'd be
think
sick as a dog if I did
I
that.
think the top one was like you had to eat four in one sitting,
Oh, wow.
and they would make a cardboard cutout of you to stick in the restaurant.
Oh, my God.
But I think there's only been just a couple people that's been able to do that because they were massive.
Oh, yeah. Talk about frightening things. If there was a cardboard cutout of me, that would be very frightening. And I can't even begin to imagine a cardboard cutout of me in a restaurant like that.
Well, I think probably people feel like same way saying you just take that out back and burn that. I don't want to see that guy while I'm trying to eat.
Batman, I have not seen Killer Condom, but I've heard of Killer Condom.
Yeah, I've heard of it too. Never seen it. It's like one of those movies I put on a list that I'll eventually get around to. Like there's one called Monster.
Oh, yeah.
Like I've heard people talk about that, but I'm like, I
There
don't
was
know.
one, and I'm not trying to be offensive, so don't anybody get upset. But
I,
there was a movie several years ago called Retarded,
I
and
was that's
and
the
I
one I thought
watched it.
you
It was funny, but I am in no way, shape, or form making fun of
right.
people that are.
Yeah, that was one I thought of too. When you was getting ready to say, I knew that's what you were going to say because when I found out about that movie Monster, uh, at that very same time I learned about Retarded. But I've never seen either one. Now my old friend Justin Owens, you probably remember Justin.
Yeah,
Uh, he was the one that told me about those movies, and because he really liked really obscure horror stuff.
yeah.
I think one of Justin's favorite it may not be anymore, but one of his favorite slashers back then was Cheerleader Camp. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen Cheerleader Camp. I actually, I guess I have a DVD. It's probably way back in the back
Yeah,
room.
that's one I don't have. I need to get a copy of that one because I actually did like it too. I like super cheesy stuff like that. Like, I even like the movie Hobgoblins, which
Oh, yeah.
which Mystery Science Theater 3000 did an episode where they watched Hobgoblins, and it's a Gremlins ripoff, of
Yeah.
course. But I love it. It's so stupid.
Chris, I hate to do this, but I'm going to take myself out of the stream for a second. You
Yeah.
go ahead and
Okay.
entertain people, but Reggie's wanting back in, and then I'm going to have to get
Oh,
him and
okay.
Sammy separated real quick.
Yeah,
So
that's
I'll be
fine.
right back.
All righty. All right. So I see your comment now, Super Batman Nerd. So it's subtitled. Yeah, that's cool with me. I like either just subtitled or dubbed stuff. Now, if the dub is like really bad and kind of makes the movie unwatchable, I'll just be like, nah. I'll just rather have the Japanese audio and or whatever country that did it, and just just read the subtitles. But I'm kind of like that with Godzilla movies because I love Godzilla. I know Uncle Bill is not a fan of the Godzilla films, but I am. I love that stuff, and I don't really mind. I guess maybe just because we're my infatuation with the Godzilla films, like I don't mind the English dubbed over the Japanese actors in those films. But if anybody likes Godzilla films out there, put your favorite Godzilla film in the chat. I'd love to maybe if I eventually get my channel taken off at some point, that's something I might focus on doing is talking about some of those films. Um, I don't know if anybody else watches Cinemassacre, like the Angry Video Game Nerd type stuff, but James Rolfe, he does like like things like Monster Madness around Halloween every year. And I think he did that once where he like covered all of the Godzilla films. So, I've always loved that guy's stuff. He was like one of my like introductions to YouTube years ago, and yeah, I've been watching him since pretty much the beginning. And I think I was talking to Rambo about this the other night. I think he told me that some of the newer stuff that James Rolfe is putting out for Angry Video Game Nerd and stuff like that, that a lot of it is being scripted by someone else, and there was some kind of controversy where they were stealing like dialogue from other YouTubers for his videos, and I hate to hear that because I really think James Rolfe is a very talented and creative guy, especially in his early days of like Angry Video Game Nerd and other series he was doing. But have you ever watched any of his stuff, Dana?
Yeah, it's been a while since I saw anything from him, but yeah, I have seen some of
I
it.
don't know if you're like a big video game person or not, but like
Well,
when
I suck at video games. I try, but
but that's just like one of his characters. Now he does like actual videos where he like reviews films and
Mhm.
he's reviewed books. And then he had a little series going for a while. I wish he hadn't stopped doing it, where he was talking about like all of his like favorite musicians and stuff and his favorite albums. And I don't know, he, like I said, I was telling everybody else just then, before you got back on here, he was like one of my introductions to YouTube, like way back when, because he was there since the beginning of YouTube pretty much. And always liked his stuff. Like I was talking about how he used to do this Monster Madness series around Halloween, where he would just talk about different horror films and sci-fi horror films, because he's a big Godzilla fan too.
Right. Did you see Candace's question to you,
What
Chris?
was it? Let me see. If they blew up any horror villain to battle Godzilla, who would you choose, Chris? Gosh, that's a good question. Um,
I would like to see myself. I would like to see Freddy Krueger go up against
yeah,
myself.
any of them would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome. But I'm trying to think like what one would I like the most? Maybe the Leprechaun.
That would be cool too.
Because I mean he kind his like design of his makeup and everything kind of resembles some of the creatures that Godzilla's fought anyway in the past.
Candace says she would choose Freddy Krueger as well, but we've got a crush on Robert England. We can't help ourselves. I think we both got a crush on him.
Super Batman Nerd says I have a DVD copy and a 4K Godzilla, the one from 1998, the one with Matthew Broderick. Yeah, we don't talk about that one, sir.
Uh, so while we're talking about this, I just wanted to get your take on the look of the chuds in
Oh my
this.
gosh. I feel like it's probably one of the best like not like not like the main character like creatures in films that actually have names, because these they don't have names. They're
No,
just
they're just
all
Chuds.
unknown. They're just chuds, yeah. But to me, like one of the just basic unnamed creatures that are in these films from the 80s, I
Mhm.
feel like this was one of the best ones. I love the effects in this, like when she cuts the one's head off.
Yeah, and the
And
green junk come out
oh, I
of that.
love it. Like, have you ever seen Street Trash or Slime City?
Yeah, I've seen Street Trash.
Oh my gosh, it's like it's almost like, and I don't know, I don't think Candace cares much for trauma films, but it's like their own kind of like effects in trauma films.
Right.
It's similar to that because they overuse a lot of like goo and fake blood and all kinds of nastiness in the trauma films, and I
Yeah,
think that's what makes those movies special, honestly.
exactly. Yes, Candace, that's what I need to make. We need I love Robert England shirts. We definitely those are gonna be forthcoming. I gotta make a I love Robert England shirt. And I need to make it before Horror Hound this fall in September so I could maybe wear it when I go up to meet Robert England. I'll have the big I love Robert England shirt on.
He now his character in V's name was Willie, right?
Mhm.
I would say you could make a shirt that says "I heart Willie," but some people might get the wrong idea.
They might. Even if I had his character of Willie from V on there, they might still think, well, are you talking about that Willie or are you talking about another Willie? So
Uh, Take it how you want it. Candace said, "I figured Chris. That's why I zipped my mouth after saying 1990 is my favorite." Yeah, I know. I'm fully aware that the 1998 Godzilla is your favorite.
oh yeah, I'm glad he punched that guy in the face. That guy deserved it. He was a jerk.
Yeah, he had a very punchable face.
Mhm. And there's a am I incorrect or am I correct on this, Chris? On Alligator, isn't there a scene where a vehicle is parked on the manhole cover and they can't get out of the sewer? The same way there's a scene, well, just a couple of scenes before this.
I can't remember.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch
It seems like there
Alligator.
is. Um, that did when you was describing that did remind me of this episode. Did you ever watch the show Supernatural?
I've watched a few episodes with my cousin Heather because she was always a big fan of that show.
Was it what? It was just the first season that you watched, or did you watch somewhere like in the middle of the show?
Gosh, I'm trying to remember. It may have been in the middle, like not probably not the early episodes.
That's probably one of my favorite TV series of all time. Really is, because like the first season was kind of slow, but once it gets into season two, it really picks up.
Mm.
It's like 15 seasons. The whole show is, but
Wow, I didn't know they were on
I
that long.
absolutely love it. Because I grew up, I loved the Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV series,
Hmm.
and it's very kind of reminiscent of that. Because almost every episode is different, where they're hunting after a different monster or creature or something. Um, and then, but later in the show, they kind of get into like bigger storylines that focus on the same thing all throughout. But I love it, and the reason I brought that up is because when you were describing like the car parked over like the manhole,
Hmm.
there's an episode of Supernatural where like there's a car parked over like a manhole, and then like somebody walks by, and then
Uh-huh.
like somebody sees that person walking by the car, and they turn around and they look back and that person's gone, and like it's pretty much like implied like because it like zooms in like on the manhole, and like they something down there grabbed them, so it could be like, that's weird that you mentioned that about Alligator,
Yeah.
because I don't remember that per se, but like also that it reminded me of that episode, and it also kind of like ties into what's the chuds in this.
Yep, exactly. Man, they killed Bosch. Man, I like that dude.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten about that actually till it happened.
But if you ever get around to it, Dana, I highly suggest maybe trying to watch Supernatural from. I mean, like I said, it's a very long series, 15 seasons, but
Mhm.
I just feel like that would be something you would like if you
Oh,
kind of.
I'm sure I would. There's a lot of things that I wish that maybe if I take some time off from doing the live streams, I can watch some of those things, and that'll be another feather in my cap for something to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many shows that they're like that. Especially some of those anthology series. Like I think you already did Monsters, though, right?
Yeah,
Um, you did you ever watch Amazing Stories?
I did, and I think I have Amazing Stories, maybe the complete series. I have that in Erie, Indiana.
Oh,
Remember Erie,
oh my
Indiana?
gosh, I'm watching Erie, Indiana right now
Are you?
again. Yeah, because I love that show when I was a kid, and I've been going through this thing on like YouTube because I found like complete series of some shows I wanted to watch all on YouTube. I watched. I don't know if you remember the old show on Nickelodeon, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
See,
Mhm.
now they have 5 seasons of that show on Paramount Plus, but there is an official Are You Afraid of the Dark YouTube channel that has every single episode uploaded on there. So it's like
Mhm.
7 seasons. And so I watched all through those. And then I watched all through like the old Goosebumps 90s TV series.
I
Uh,
gotta mention John Goodman here, though, coming into
oh,
the diner here.
yeah. I honestly forgot that he had that little small role in here.
Didn't mean to interrupt you there, Chris. I
Oh, no,
just
no, no. You're good. I'm just rambling. But yeah, I finished the Goosebumps series, and now I'm on Erie, Indiana, and it didn't click with me until like I started rewatching Erie, Indiana. That Joe Dante directs the first 2 episodes, and
that's right.
so I
Yeah.
went and looked that up, and like it on Erie, Indiana, and it said he'd done like 6 or 7 different episodes, and I think there's only 19 episodes altogether of Erie, Indiana.
Yeah. There's not many at all, really.
Um, but that did raise like a question, like because I'm going to be going to that Wonderfest in Louisville in June, and Joe Dante's going to be there.
Right.
So I've been wanting to meet him for years because, like I said, Gremlins is my favorite movie. But I had this because in like I think it's the first, is either the first or the second episode, which he directed of Erie, Indiana. There are these two twins, boys in it, and their names are Bertram and Ernest.
Uh huh.
And then like later in the episode, they're like older, and it's the twins from Gremlins 2. Um, but they're, you know, I noticed the names Bertram and Ernest, and I looked it up to see if that was a reference to Bert and Ernie from
Yeah.
Sesame Street, and it was. And so I was like, I think a good, because I love Jim Henson. He's like one of my idols, Jim Henson. And I felt like a good question I wanted to ask Joe Dante when I meet him is that um, was he inspired at all by Jim Henson when he started working? Because he Joe Dante does use a lot of puppets within his films, and then that Bertram and Ernest thing from Erie, Indiana, just kind of like also ties into the whole Jim Henson like Sesame Street stuff.
Hmm.
So I'm curious if he was inspired at all by Jim Henson's work when he
I
started.
mean that sounds like a distinct possibility to me. And I
Yeah.
gotta remember about Wonderfest. I'm gonna tell Steve you gotta take me. I'd like to meet Joe Dante as well because I
Yeah, I mean, I
love
don't
his
think it's very much, and like plus, last time I went to Wonderfest was like years ago, in 2010, before I was ever with Candace, and I remember at that one, James Karen and Linnea Quigley was both there. They were set up right beside each other, and Lou Ferrigno was there, and I think what's that chick's name from the Hidden? Um, I can't think right now, but she was there, and there. It was mostly like vendors and stuff, and they
Right.
have like a whole room full of like all these models and stuff that people put. And I think that's what's mainly like for. And they just have like a few guests. Like at this one this year is Joe Dante's gonna be there, and Belinda Belasky, which is in some of Joe Dante's film, Greg
Mhm.
Nicotero, and I think the rest are just kind of like effects guys and maybe some stuff like the curator of the Ray Harryhausen collection is going to be there. So
Oh,
I'm
cool.
hoping he's going to be bringing a lot of pieces of Ray Harryhausen stuff to have on display.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm excited about that.
You're getting me excited about it and reminding me that Joe Dante's supposed to be there.
Well,
So
yeah, because like Gremlins is my favorite movie, but me and Candace also have a huge love for the movie The Burbs.
me too.
And I think that's something that Candace will probably want to talk to him about, and I'm sure Noah will be there with us too. But Noah doesn't. He doesn't really talk to the celebrities. He just kind of stands there and like, "Hi, nice to meet you."
Oh, and I wanted to acknowledge that Victor's in here, um, and Ben is in here. And Ben says Lou Ferrigno was kind of rude when I saw him at Dragon Con years ago. Um,
Oh, I see Victor's comment now. Claudia Christian, yes, that's who I was trying to think of. She was there, and I had her sign my Hidden poster. Have you ever seen the Hidden, Dana?
I have it, Chris, but I need to remedy the fact that I have not watched it
Yeah,
yet.
it's good. It's got what's his name? Kyle McLaughlin, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah,
from
from
Twin
Twin
Peaks.
Peaks. Yep,
Yeah, also in Blue Velvet too, I guess.
yep.
Um,
Oh, and Chris C's in here. The other Chris is in here.
awesome.
Yeah.
The other Chris.
Yeah, that sounds like a horror movie. The other Chris.
Yeah, that's the name of the movie. It's like you don't know what you'll expect when you meet the other Chris.
But thank you, Chris, for saying slash the like all. And
Yeah,
also, I want to thank Blissful because she does this every time. She says she reminds people to like um, the streams as well, and I appreciate that very much so because it gets I can only do so much about getting the word out about the channel and stuff. So it really helps that those of you that are really enjoying the content that's being put out and all of that, that you're kind of spreading the word about this. It really, really helps. And
yeah, man. It's
it's
awesome.
integral to anybody's success, channel success, that the word gets out. And I have many, many supporters, which I appreciate each and every one of you out there. And I appreciate Chris coming on here with me. And he seems to think he comes on here too much, but I
I
couldn't hang.
think I do. I think I get on your nerves.
No, why would you think that? I hope I
I'm,
don't look like somebody's getting.
no, I'm playing. I want to address a couple comments in the chat here, though. I seen
Mhm.
Victor Von Metal says Erie, Indiana, with the Foreverwhere episode. Yeah, that's it. It's like these big, huge, like they're almost like coffins, but they're like big Tupperware.
Yeah,
And then so that's what keeps those boys like young for so many, like 30 years. And then like they destroyed like the Tupperware at the end of the episode, and then they get older. Um, and but yeah, this is Omri Katz, I think, was the kid. Yeah, that's Omri Katz, who you might also know him as Max from Hocus Pocus. Um, but and I think that was but my introduction to him was with Erie, Indiana, because I think that show came out in like 91. Um, and
yeah.
I think I was about 6 years old at the time when the show came out. And then another comment I've seen that Super Batman Nerd says, speaking of Joe Dante, my favorite movie he directed was Small Soldiers. I
Mhm.
love Small Soldiers, man. Um, I can remember when that movie came out and all like the merchandise in the stores and everything was out. And I had some of like I had the two talking figures of Major Chip Hazard and the Gorgonite. I think his name was Archer, and like they were like some of the first interactive toys that they made because you could like push if you had both of them, you would push like the button on one of them, and they would say a line, and then the other figure would like I recognize that and then say a line back.
Ah, cool. I like that. Um, I was gonna say that I guess we can, if Chris can stay on here with me till 9, uh,
Yeah, yeah, I'm good.
about 9 more minutes. So if there's anything anybody wants to bring up or ask me or Chris, just keep it clean, please. That's
Yeah,
all I ask.
there's
Um,
children watching. No, I'm kidding.
there could be,
There could be.
me and Candace got a treat with Abby and Winter being on yesterday when we were doing the Friday
Yeah.
Foolish stream.
And
And so,
I hope it we can get in one of those situations where you can meet Winter because I'm telling you that's one of the sweetest kids. And I have kids, my own child, and I have my nephews I deal with. But I tell you, and they can be rotten sometimes. But Winter, I'm telling you, I don't think that child has got a rotten bone in her body. She's such a sweet little girl. Like when the first time I went to go and meet her, when me and Cass went to Abby's house, she just took right up with me. She was trying to show me all of her toys,
right.
and I was like, that was at that point because Abby gave me a lot of James's collection with his movies and stuff when we went up there to her house. And I was like, "Are you sure, Abby? You sure you don't want?" She's like, "No, I don't have nowhere for it." And she's like, "I figured, I would give it to you." And I was like, "Wow, I really appreciate that." So, like, I've got a lot of stuff of James's that he had in his collection that I didn't even ever know existed.
Right.
And it's like some really, really interesting titles in there. But anyway, though, but Winter, I remember I was packing one of the boxes of movies out to the car, and I came back in, and I was going back up the stairs, and then she starts following me up the stairs, and she like grabs me by my hand, and starts trying my hand, and I'm like, oh well, okay, and like and Abby and Candace thought that was so funny. But
Well,
yeah, she's a sweet
know
kid.
kids know who the fun people are, and they gravitate towards those people. I'm not saying Candace ain't fun, but
No,
you know what I'm saying. It's
she
just
likes to think that she's not, but she is. If
she
she
is a
was,
very fun
if
person.
she wasn't, I wouldn't be with her. I'll just say that.
Blissful, you say you're back. You had a phone call. Poor Blissful. She every time she wants to come in a stream, it seems like she gets bombarded with phone calls. But that's okay. We all get phone calls from time to time or messages. Like I said earlier, before we got the movie started, I've got two messages from Candace I need to respond to after we're done here.
Super Batman nerds. I nearly had all the small soldiers memorabilia, the karate fighters. That was a Rock'em Sock'em robot. Oh yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. Super Batman nerds. I love that karate fighter stuff, man. I could go on about that because that was like one of my number one desired like toy play sets things back in the 90s when I was a kid. I think I aggravated my mom to death. Like, I want karate fighters. And, but I did get them like later on
Mhm.
because like they were it was such a popular thing where you could, in our area at least, we could never find them in stores. Was there anything like that for you, Dana, when you was a kid, like toys or anything? Was there anything like you wanted, but it was so hard to find in your area?
I don't think there was anything that was ever so hard to find. It was just, well, I guess this isn't horror related, but I remember when the Cabbage Patch Kids were all the rage.
Yeah, yeah.
And the reason why it was so hard to find the dang things was because everybody and their brother wanted them because it
Well,
just
you need to ask Candace about. She'll tell you a good story about. I guess it's either her mom and her aunt maybe was trying to get her a cabbage patch. She'll have to tell you the story sometime. But yeah, she said there was like people fighting and
mm.
everything over trying to get these Cabbage Patch Kids.
But my mom and dad did finally get me one for Christmas. Of
Mhm.
course, it was Santa Claus back then.
Right,
Santa Claus
right.
got that for me. But
I
I
know
got
that
one
guy.
of the I can't remember. I think I got a Cabbage Patch Pre-Me. I'm not 100% sure, and I think my mom still has my Cabbage Patch doll.
Do you remember the toys? Which I never had because I wasn't interested in them, but I would see like commercials for them. It was these dogs. They were like plush dogs or something, and they would have baby,
The
but
pound puppies, is that
not the pound, not pound puppies. This was something where they had like babies inside them, and you didn't know how many like baby puppies.
Oh,
And
yeah, I
it,
never had one of those, though, but
Candace
I know
probably knows what those were called, because she liked all that stuff. I think when she was growing up, like My Little Pony and
mhm.
Care Bears and all that kind of stuff.
I don't think Candace will mind me putting this up here. For those of you, that whoops, I hit the wrong one. Sorry, Batman. For those of you that hear us talking about James and
Yeah,
wonder who he was a very dear friend to a lot of us in these circles. He was a dear friend to the Dead Pit guys and a lot of us that hung around with the Dead Pit guys. And he did sadly lose his battle with leukemia,
yeah.
and it was a big it was a big blow. It was the biggest blow was to Abby, of course, his wife, but it was a very big blow and a difficult pill to swallow for all of us that knew James because he was and will forever remain a great person, a great friend, and a great horror collector as
Oh
well.
yeah, he was. I mean, he was like, because like I said, I got a lot of his collection, mostly his movies and some magazines, comic books, and stuff like that. It's all every bit horror related, and I mean, that man had some like an insane. I have to maybe show it to you all sometime, but like because a lot of the stuff that I did have already that was in his collection, um, I gave my copies to my brother-in-law CJ,
Right,
and I said I want to keep James's copies.
right.
And and most of it's DVD, and I know people are like go beyond DVDs now with Blu-rays and 4Ks and all that, and so do I. I mean, I did, but tell you because of the collection I already had of DVDs, plus now combining that with James's collection, there's at least 1,000 movies in there that are just horror films.
Yeah.
Um,
He probably
it's
had one of
crazy.
the biggest horror collections of
Well,
anybody.
it's very impressive, and I mean, I tell you, cause like I said, some of the stuff that's in there I never knew existed. He had like pretty much the full run of the Army of Darkness comic book series, uh,
Man, that's awesome.
and yeah, he was one of my best friends, and I'm gonna miss him. I mean, he was 10. I have missed him. I mean, I should say because last year actually made 10 years since he passed.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what Candace
yeah,
is saying in there. And Candace also says um
yeah,
puppy
it was
surprise,
it.
baby surprise, and even a bunny surprise. She
Puppy
says,
Surprise is what it was called. Yeah, I think they ended up like bringing that back. You know how they do like a lot of like retro toys nowadays? They bring all this stuff like Masters of the Universe and GI Joe and all that stuff. They're bringing that Ninja Turtles. I think I did see like a newer version of that not too long ago, like in toy stores.
But guys and gals, we're at the 2 hour mark, and I know people got to get some sleep sometime, but
Oh, I
I
do.
I have had a lot of fun today. It was a great pick me up for, I know I've been complaining about having to work 4 hours this morning from 8 to 12. It was the biggest waste of my time. I didn't want to flood of phone calls, but I had zero phone calls, so I was sitting there like a bump on a log, for 4 hours when I could have been doing, stuff with the channel. I could have been spending more
Oh,
time
I
with
know what that's like, Dana. Like, but it's only like that really for us at my call center, like close around Christmas and stuff.
right.
Because most of the time when I'm working, it's like I'll do a call, and then once I've ended that call, like less than 10 seconds later, another one comes through,
Yeah,
and it's
I've seen it be like that too, and it's
yeah,
insane.
it can get insane sometimes.
Thank you, Candace. Candace says good live.
Yeah, it was. This is a lot of fun. And you said you're doing ET tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow night's ET.
Your cousin Heather's not watching, is she?
Lord, I hope not. I hope she doesn't see the thumbnail I've got up either, or she'll freak out.
Oh my gosh, I don't think I've seen it yet. I need to go in there and look. Yeah, I
It's
love
cute.
ET.
It's cute to me, but it wouldn't be to her.
Yeah, I think my favorite part of ET is when, which I don't know if you want me to be on there tomorrow or not, but I would love to talk about
If you,
ET.
yeah, if you want to be on, I'd love to have you on. Just don't let me forget to send you the link.
Okay, yeah, I'll send you a message or something. But yeah, I think my favorite part about ET is always the part where he's drinking the beer and he's drunk, and then like so where he has like the connection with Elliot. Elliot starts getting drunk in class.
Sliding down in his seat.
Love that.
Uh, well, I want to acknowledge there's a few people that came in late. Mayor's wanting to
Yeah,
know, are
I
you
see
going to do
Mayor in here. That's
another
cool.
vinyl show, Dana? I wanted to show off some of mine. Yes, me and Candace will do another vinyl and collecting
Yeah,
show.
because Can's already got, I think, several more picked out for whenever y'all do that again. So
Oh,
uh,
I've still got
she
some.
loves that. That's like one of her favorite things is music and and talking about albums and stuff. So yeah,
Um, ET makes you cry, Candace. Well, honey, it makes me cry too. It's still yet, it makes me cry. Um, Batman, you say, gotta go deal with high idiots with the munchies. Happy 420, y'all. Yeah, I'm guessing Batman's going to work then. He's got to go to McHale, as he calls it. Um, but Yeah, I echo what Candace says. We'd love to have you on, and anyone else who'd love to share, Mayor. Yeah, that's what these things are all about: is everybody getting together and sharing their stuff. Blizzle says ET makes her cry too. Um, Mayor says awesome. Yeah, we want as many people as we can get on there, and like I said, we might break StreamYard, we might break the internet, but by golly, we can hop back on there. We can take ourselves out and get back on there.
yeah, and maybe tomorrow if I am able to join you for ET, maybe I can like show off some of my ET collection
Oh yeah, sure, that would be awesome.
because I've got a lot of ET stuff.
Yeah, I've got some ET stuff, but I bet you've got me beat.
I
And
I don't know what it is. Like, I guess you can probably. I've never really thought about it, but you probably consider it one of my favorite movies because I think like I have probably when it comes to, like certain movies, I probably have more stuff of Gremlins than I do anything else.
hmm
But somehow, like have like acquired a lot of stuff from ET over the years, and I'll be honest, it's probably one of my favorite 80s movies at least. I don't know if I would put it like in my top 10 or not, but I'd have to think about that. But definitely as far as like just if you just single and down to the 80s films, like that's probably one of my top favorites.
yeah, definitely. But it has been, I've had a great time with Chris on here and you guys and gals in the chat. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I want to thank Chris for being on here with me so you don't have to listen to me being boring.
I want to thank you for having me on here, Dana, and
Well,
let me aggravate you.
you don't aggravate me. And there's an open door policy with both you and Candace because I know I never have to worry about y'all doing something insane or something on the stream. So I'm safe as long as I've got you guys on here. Um, Mayor says he used to have a full size stripe, or his sister used to have a full size stripe with real hair mohawk.
Hold on, one second before we get off here. Let me go see if this is the same one he's talking about.
Okay. 1980s Betamax. I don't think I did see the ET Christmas reunion commercial a couple of years ago. But it's good to see you on here again. I hadn't seen you on here for a while.
Is that the same one, Mayor?
That it looks kind of scary.
Got like the
Yeah.
his hair a little bit fuzzy, but yeah, that's the original stripe that they put out when they were, I guess, promoting the film.
Oh yeah, Blissful. I'd love for you to send me that commercial because I like to see it. But we'll see if Mayor responds back if that
Oh yeah, I forget there's a delay on these things.
a little bit. He says no. It was
Oh, I
no
meant flat.
delay.
Okay, I know the one you're talking about. I don't have it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But on that note, I guess me and Chris will skedaddle on out of here for tonight. Now be sure to tune in tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time as I make chili Necronomicon corn and then ET for the watch on. That's a mouthful when I say that. It's really cool sounding, but it's a
It's
mouthful.
a cool name, though. You know.
Yeah, yeah. And I did get that from the Death for Dinner book that Candace and
Oh,
Chris.
is that where you got that from?
Yeah, I wanted to do another Evil Dead one, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this one. That
You should
sounds
do
like
like one called like Condarian cupcakes or something like that,
I could probably do that. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe chocolate cupcakes. I
or
love
red velvet or something like that.
Yeah, or red velvet. Oh man, that's making me hungry. Anyways, we're gonna get off here for now, but I just want to remind everybody to be kind to one another and to blaze that trail because you are all very special people and you all have talents. Don't ever think that you don't have a talent. Everybody has one.
That's right.
And yeah, Mayor. In fact, I won't say that right now because something bad might happen. But I'll just say, don't say Klaatu, and you know the rest of that, right? So, uh, see you later, Candace, and I will be sending you a message here shortly. And we're out of here, and we'll see everybody next time.
All
So,
right. Bye, everybody.
everybody.